Previously on Dances with Dice. When last we left our heroes, a mother's sins revealed. A daughter faced with a choice she was not ready for. And hope renewed after a millennia. What awaits our heroes this week on Dances with Dice?
We return to the laboratory, the study, the sort of like the dragon, sort of like a study hall for dragons that you had the egg hatch in, Theo. I will say at this point, between all of the sort of shouting and sounds of eggs hatching, because it was not a quiet sound, I will say. The egg hatching actually sort of like, now that you've kind of come to your senses, Theo, you recognize like there is a like dying sort of melodic ring that's sort of reverberating through the halls, almost like a single like strike of a bell that you can now, that you can, it's kind of coming to senses like, oh, that was the sound of the egg hatching. For Felix and Doran, you both awake, and you are awakened by the sound of this like singular chiming bell. You can hear like the sort of like you can hear the back and forth between Deshgaram and Theo, sort of muffled, and you guys kind of sleepily sort of like, what the hell's going on? And as you kind of arrive at the doorway, you see this small sapphire dragon kind of like happily wagging its tail on Theo's chest. Deshgaram is sort of sat there, mouth agape, like hands just at his side. It's just sort of like stooped over. And Theo is just laying there with a baby sapphire dragon on her chest.
Do I want to know?
More friends? And you guys all hear in your mind the voice of this like little baby dragon.
Yes. Oh, that's not my accent.
Jesus Christ.
That's not what it would sound like.
Oh my god.
That's why I chose to be a character where it's just slightly more modified of my own voice. So I don't forget anymore.
Yes, so I don't know my own accent no more. I don't know what I sound like.
And now we have entered Sweeney Todd.
I feel like Theo's like almost having a stroke right now. Like lifelong dream has suddenly come to fruition on like the day she discovers her mother is a war criminal. It's just like
I don't know who I am. Yes, I assume they're friends. They're friends as well. Sorry, I might sound different. I don't know. I'm
Christine Healer.
Bluey Christine Healer. Fuck now, I'm Australian.
Take a breath, Hannah. Take a breath.
I'm trying. I've been watching a lot of Bluey.
She's too deep in the outback.
I'm uncultured, and this is my dragon. Hello. Yes, these are friends now. Friends, please. What the fuck's going on? Dragon. Hatched. Fuck.
Deshgaram sort of like pulls himself to his feet and sort of stands there. It's like he takes a couple of deep breaths.
Fuck are you laughing?
Oh. Oh, the gods choose to play a cruel trick on me.
Doran's noticeably a little just bit concerned because the last, like, he's a little bit, like, any
going through it.
rash reactions from that guy, he's like, please don't hit me.
Please don't fucking hit me. That becomes Dash Garam's new thing.
It's like, laughing is good?
Dash Garam's new favorite hobby is just hitting
like
Doran.
his expression got just a little bit more wide, and he's just like kind of steps back a little bit, like, is everything? What's happening?
He's gonna hit someone else again.
Dash Garam sort of like
Fine. One final test.
What?
He sort of straightens himself up.
Theodosia Liqueur.
Oh no.
By right of proving and right of hatching. Should you take this whelp into your care, I name you Fledgling Worm Speaker.
You watch as it kind of sort of chokes a little bit on those last two words.
Don't hurt yourself.
I would not get sassy. I am the only person who can teach you.
And there's a beat, and like you hear a little voice, and everyone hears a little voice in their head. Grandpa's mad.
Yes, I can't say the word yes no more.
So should we be planning a baby shower or?
Right now, everyone should probably sleep.
Do they come with... She points at the baby dragon on her chest. Do they come with me, or do they go with you?
I will take care of the wormling for now. It will be returned to you in the morning.
All right. Django, talking to my cat.
Doran's already halfway down.
Theo is in shock.
He's just like, yep, nope, going to bed.
He's like, just like, I'm not needed. Cool. I'm out.
He's like, you don't have to tell me twice.
Cool.
Like,
I'm gonna say, congrats on motherhood, and then go to bed.
Fuck off. Theo's gonna sit up from the position she was on the floor with the baby dragon that is very heavy, and get up.
Yeah, and you notice as you start moving that you watch as like the little baby dragon. It's like now that like all the excitement has passed, let's say it's like maybe like 15-20 minutes have passed at this point. You notice that the baby dragon starts like just yawning a lot. It's like
the cat yawn.
Yeah, just a big cat yawn. Like every kitten you've ever seen, like they have like that burst of zoomies for about 5 minutes, and then it's like, okay, it's nap time. That's very much what's going on right now with this little baby. It's a baby.
It's a baby.
The Dash Garam sort of walks over and picks it up in a very specific way that it like naturally like in the palm of his hand like curls into a ball almost, and so it like fits perfectly in the palm of his hand. It's like
right. I get to train daughter of the person who effectively ensured the end of my species. This is great. This is great. I'm going to have a bone to pick with somebody when I make it to the afterlife. I swear to God.
You traumatized a dragon.
Yay!
Re-traumatize the dragon.
This is like It's like that time I got into a car accident
Look,
and
she
I
didn't do
broke the
shit.
axle of a truck.
He's just pissed that the
With
daughter
my
of his
Prius.
greatest enemy is now his biggest link to the world and is his last hope for his race to continue,
It's like if Yoda was just way more vindictive. And a little bit more crotchety. Dashgarm is gonna look at you. Dashgarm looks at you, Theo, and it's like, I understand. It's not your fault. At the same time, you just sort of you watch as he sort of flexes his shoulders a little bit. Take some time. Go to sleep, Theo. We have a lot to discuss in the morning.
Theo kind of she hurriedly nods, quick little nodding. She kind of gives a once-over look of the little baby, and heads back to where she was sleeping.
And before you step out the door, it's like, oh, right. And he sort of lifts up one wing. It's a girl.
Oh. Congratulations.
Think less motherhood and more a sibling.
Okay.
Congratulations to you. Now go to sleep.
I feel like the congratulations should be more to you, right? You're not the last one. Well, there was others, but this means more can come, right? It's not over.
A spark of hope yet remains. But it is just a spark. Please. We will speak more in the morning.
She nods again and heads back to where she was sleeping. Kicks Felix.
Bitch.
Everybody gets a long rest. So if you're missing any health, if you are missing, I think it would just be Doran who's missing health. You all awake to the sound of breakfast being cooked. There's the smell of fresh bread, of bacon, some eggs, things like that. You sort of arrive down to the mess hall and you see a series of little magical mage hands, sort of and then you can see runes sort of on the floor and up the walls, as this sort of automated breakfast sort of assembly line sort of slides out. You have a variety of different foods and options to choose from. Dash Garum is sort of sitting at the end of the table with the little dragon is napping on the edge of the table as well, still completely asleep. They're laying on a half-eaten plate of food. They've sort of made a pillow out of the scrambled eggs and bacon. And they are if you
I want a bacon
they're
egg
so
scrambled pillow.
They're so deep in sleep, you can almost see the cartoon snot bubble sort of inflating and deflating in this little baby dragon.
Honk shoe me.
Yeah, just big honk shoe. Very eepy. The baby dragon is supremely eepy.
Being born is very difficult.
It is. Dashgarum sort of gives all of you a nod as you arrive, and it's like, well, I'm sure at least one of you probably has questions, but I would imagine all of you might. Please, and you sort of eat first.
I'm eating.
Yeah, it's like Doran's just go through the motions.
Well, it's more of just I don't know, his kind of thoughts on it is just, look, I'm here to support these people. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and just anybody
Not
needs
get
me,
flicked again.
Yeah, they'll let me know.
So are we leaving Theo here, or...
Well, I suppose that rests with all of you. And a decision that Theo themselves must make. To become a worm speaker is to give yourself over entirely. What you were before, your deeds, your heroics, your skills, all they may translate. You are becoming something new, something more. It is not a path easily taken, and it is a path made exponentially more dangerous given the situation around the world at large and the fact of there are not supposed to be any more baby dragons in the world.
So it was bad enough that we were hiding eggs. Now, hiding an actual baby is going to be worse, right?
I envision 3 pathways forward. Should Theo wish to become a worm speaker and engage in the necessary training, I will need, at minimum, a month of time to be able to train her in the ways she needs to survive. You are, of course, welcome to stay during that time. I have a feeling that there are things here that may interest you, may aid you in your own journeys and struggles. But we are blessed in the sense that Theo's mother was angry at not being chosen, and only he sort of cuts himself off. The libraries, studies, and repositories of all our ancient knowledge still remain. Whatever of use it might be to you, I open it to your ends. The second path. There are only 4 of us here. No one need know what happened here. You may return to your lives as best you can, and continue on your journeys in your own ways. You will always have a sanctuary here, should you need it. That is the least I can do. I understand if all of this is a bit too much. You are already tasked with... You have your own troubles, let alone the troubles of the world and the troubles of bringing dead species back to life. Option 3. I use what contacts I have remaining to reveal this information to the world. And we throw a proverbial bucket of fuel on the fire that is already burning. But if there's one thing our enemies aren't expecting, it is a revelation of this sort. And it might be enough to rally the larger population and help push back against these incursions our enemies are making.
Is there one that you suggest?
All of these opportunities come with their own risks. They come with their own successes. The path of becoming a worm speaker is not an easy one. And while I cannot say what will occur, your responsibilities and priorities will change by necessity. To be a worm speaker is to serve the greater good of the world, regardless of own personal desires and glories. That is a path that some find impossible to travel. You will have a partner with you, which you share a bond that is in some ways deeper than you will ever experience with another individual. I can't answer that question for you, Theo, because I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what it is you all are trying to accomplish.
It's always been my goal to become a worm speaker, to help bring dragons back. But my concern lies in the fact that there's something inside of me, and I don't know if it's going to make me a problem, make it worse.
Dashgaram looks at you, like nods. I have sensed this darkness within you. We all must risk when we are faced with potential annihilation. I would not have taken your mother in if I did not see potential, and I would not have offered to you if there was not some of that same spark within you. If you can commit yourself to overcoming your darker desires, I am confident you can be successful.
Theo's gonna look back over to her squad. Though I know Doran just got here, so Doran's just like, sup? I don't know what's going on. I've been fighting a war. But she kind of thinks about what probably what Finn would be saying, and what Finn would also be telling her to do. And she nods. Then she's looking at the team. She looks at, the team. I'm going to do it. The question becomes the question is whether we tell people or not. But I'm going to do it. If there's a chance I can right the wrongs of my mother, I'm going to do it. Even if somewhere in the world her mother's just going, yes, girly queen, this is exactly what I wanted for you. So basically, I was a great mom, is what you're saying. What you're saying is I was
1,500 miles away in the throat, like 1,500 miles away in like an office somewhere in Marishane. Like there's like, it's like two big double like mahogany doors, like there's clearly a boardroom behind there. You just hear
she's like, I'm such a great mom.
It's like, General, are you all right? No, just something odd on the wind. And smash cut back to Theo.
But I sense I'm a great mother, and I did my job.
I get the overwhelming
Done nothing
sensation that
wrong.
I was right.
That absolutely everything I did was justified because the outcome was exactly what I wanted. Sort of. There's some bumps in the road, but
It's like, Frederick, why are you handing me a definition of narcissism? I don't understand what this is.
I don't know what this is, and I don't know what this is, but I think you might want to read it over.
Did your stupid friends teach you that word? Totally gaslighting.
Oh no!
Oof.
Well, then let's weigh the option.
Frankly, it
Tell
feels like
people.
we should keep our hand close to our chest for now.
I would
Let's not
agree.
put a target on us before necessary.
Whether it rallies the public or not, if we put a target on ourselves, what use are we if they mass their forces before we are ready?
It's true.
If they come straight here, then
Oh, we're fucked. We can't hold off.
no.
Swarms.
I mean, this is the Wormspeaker Fortress. People
We
should
are
not.
3 chuckle fucks a dragon and a half.
People have been trying to get into this
I would call
fortress
this maybe a
for
fifth.
fucking decades. Bluey Christine Healer.
Yes, at the same time, people did not have other dragons to do so.
That is fair, but we don't. Okay, that's fair. People are turning into dragons out there. Makes me wonder who is attacking. Makes me wonder who is going after Covenheim.
Let's worry about anything else for now.
Felix is like, don't you make this about me and Doran.
I'm not processing anything at the moment. Get fucked.
Felix
Can't make
taking
me.
Felix
taking
about us.
the archer route in response to trauma, where it's like, if I stop drinking all at once, I'm afraid the collective hangover will kill me. If it's like, if I start processing this trauma all at once, I'm just gonna have a heart attack.
The only
It
way
will
releasing
just
any
fall apart.
information would be beneficial is if we could somehow release the information that this has happened, but not where it has happened.
I mean, we do have connections to
The
a crime
emergence
network.
of other dragons would make the enemy check themselves. But if they know where they can eliminate it, that is a problem.
You watch as the Dash Garm sort of gets up from the table and he walks away. About like 5 minutes later, comes back with a like sort of cloth covered with a sort of cloth covered item. It's long, looks to be about maybe what would be like a short sword. But as he like sets it down and rolls it out, you see that it is like a purposefully broken hilt of a sword. It would be a long sword, ends about like maybe about like a 7, maybe 8 inches of blade. The blade of the sword is jet black onyx, almost looks like it is made of obsidian. And the hilt is made of almost like a fine silver, so fine it is almost white. So you have this like contrasting, almost yin and yang blade. Dash Garm sets it down and says,
This is the blade of alliance. It was once whole before being broken at the Great Peace Summit at the end of the war. Wormspeaker Fortress holds the hilt. The Emperor of Mercia holds 1/3 of the blade. And the Dwelvish Council holds another third. To bring this to any of these courts is to have safe passage and a demand for alliance from the Wormspeakers. To present this blade is to state that the Wormspeakers once again exist and would announce the presence of a new dragon.
how are we to do this while we are here?
Each of these individual blades, the blade itself was a scrying stone for a time. It has now been transformed in its broken state into the most fanciful sending stone one might imagine. He sort of like, you watch as he like sort of like taps the pommel, and it's like almost like depresses like a switch or a button. We'll be able to speak to anyone holding the other end of this blade.
The coolest fucking sword ever. Well, part of a sword.
It will be a message that only the individual who possesses the other parts of the blade would be able to hear and see, and you will be able to speak as though you are in the same room. Will be shifted into a pocket plane that will allow for total secrecy and confidentiality. It was deemed a necessity during the war to allow for our most secretive plans to be kept safe.
They call it Zoom. Jesus Christ. Sorry.
They call it Microsoft Teams.
That would be incredibly unsecure, let's be real.
What is the one that the kids have been using?
But he looks at
Telegram
you.
or Slack.
Slack.
Dashgaram looks at you, Doran, and is like, in terms of being able to reveal things as safely as possible, this would be the way.
I feel like our best in air quotes option is start Theo's training and feel it out from there.
Also would be the question, how long?
1 month, minimum. The training will never stop, but 1 month to be able to teach her all the things necessary to actually, to teach her the things necessary to being a worm speaker, and more importantly, to perform the rituals of bonding.
And that's fancy to speak for.
You're changing your class.
I'm changing my class, and that takes 1 month, according to Tasha's cauldron of shit.
Yes. Mechanically speaking, we can talk a little above the game for this. Mechanically speaking, you are changing your class to Ranger, so
Great Warden specifically.
That would be what is going to happen in that month.
Ooze?
Lose my ooze?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was what my question of the darkness inside me. I was wondering the same thing. Am I losing do I lose the ooze? Do I no longer get my blorbo?
The ooze is not a blorbo.
It is a blorbo. It is a blorb. It is a fucking jelly blorb.
It's definitely a plumbus.
Yes. It's flubber.
Dashgaram sort of indicates that he has like it's like that there are things that, you know, we will go over with you in private when it comes time to actually, like, you know, begin the process of training.
The ooze is a private matter.
But yeah, the training would take 1 month of in-game time. In terms of and I guess we'll go over a couple of things mechanically that have occurred. So the sanctuary that you guys will always have here, you now have both a teleportation circle here and back to the Harlan's castle.
Ooh.
So at any time you guys can pull together a teleportation spell. You can safely, freely teleport back here. There's no issues whatsoever. So you do have you have unlocked 2 fast travel points.
was gonna say we set up a quick travel location.
You have set up some fast travel. We'll see what other points you find. See what other
What's-
bonfires you find.
What's the fucking in Baldur's Gate 3? We've unlocked one of the waypoints.
Yeah, you found one of the way gates. You pulled Gale out of the wall, and he's like, "I'm in the wrong universe," and stepped right back in. But you can still teleport back and forth.
I high-fived Gale.
Dashgarm turns to Felix and Doran. It's like, that leaves the two of you. You're of course welcome to stay. There is plenty of information and different things about that could certainly fill your time, and I'm certain might aid you on your journeys here, but if you have things within the world at large you wish to handle during that time, I understand. We can transport transport can be arranged. It will of course be obscure. Don't need to be trumpeting where you are coming from. But I feel as though that is a decision amongst the three of you and what you'd like to pursue. Like I said, the library and the halls of knowledge will be open to you should you need them. I'm sure I could dig out the old alchemy lab and blacksmithing quarters if you are skilled in those arts in any way, shape, or form. But for now, I leave you to your own efforts and desires. Theo, we will meet tomorrow morning in the study, bright and early.
All right. Does she have a name?
You will discover her name together during the bonding ritual.
Cool. Neat.
But
Bonding ritual.
but for now, rest, meditate, and take a breath. Your challenges have only just begun. And he sort of scoops the sleeping dragon up off the plate and, starts walking. You just kind of hear like the pitter patter of like the sound of his steps as he is walking away.
And the honk shoe me.
Yeah, and then the little dragon snores. It's very adorable.
Very
It sounds
cute.
it sounds like a slide whistle.
My mic isn't picking it up.
But the three of you are left at the breakfast table. You guys can kind of decide how you want to tackle your situation going forward. The equivalence of this would basically be, so you can like understand mechanically, you will have what is effectively 30 days of downtime. If you have personal goals you want to pursue, if you want to inquire about things that were happening on the continent, any continent, you can do so. If you want to return to the continent, you would basically have about 2 weeks worth of time to like pursue personal goals, if that so desires, if you so desire, and then after that downtime, you'd all be returned here to continue your journey together at the end of it once Theo's training is complete.
So basically, Theo can't go anywhere, but you guys can.
Yeah. This is, again, entirely up to you guys how you want to tackle this. You will end up back here at the end of it. So it's like, say, it's not a thing of just like, oh shit, we're permanently separating the party sort of thing. It's like, it's sort of if there was ever such a thing as bottle downtime, I guess here it is. The bottle episode of 30 days of downtime. But that is sort of where we are at. There's also before you guys would head off for any of your downtime as well. You guys will have to make your decision about how you want to approach sharing the information about, and whether or not you want to use the sword or not. So
I
what
need
would
to
you
go
guys-
home. I have to know.
All right. You can go back to Covenheim pretty easily. Is that the only thing that you want to do, Doran, or other goals you have that you do when you arrive there?
Well, obviously, I'm looking to make sure.
Make
I'll
sure
just
all your
keep-
people are okay.
People are okay.
Yeah. All right. That can definitely be arranged.
If I don't know if they want. Since I don't really use it anyway. I don't know if I have time, but if I'm teleporting places or if people have the ability to do that, I can go physically. Because if I physically show up, they don't know necessarily that the sword came directly from here or that the dragon is here. And even people knowing where it is exactly, because if the message comes from the sword, they're thinking it's coming directly from here.
Well, the sword, yeah, how the sword will function. Like, you can physically bring the sword anywhere if you wanted to, like to demand an in-person meeting. You could certainly do that. Otherwise, the sword itself will put you in a pocket dimension that is completely obscured, safe to communicate in any way, shape, or form. That assumption could certainly be made. So that might be a discussion. That's probably a discussion among the three of you, how you want to handle the sword situation separately. But if you wanted to include that in your trip, Doran, you 100% could.
Because where is? You said it's the dwarven.
So there's Lane Lenore, which is the Dwelvish kingdom capital city. That is on the continent of Volacross. There is Marishane, which is the capital city of the Empire of Mercia, and that is near Covenheim. But it would be like a couple days journey to go to Marishane from Covenheim if you wanted to.
Because I think doing I don't know, an in-person meeting might show. I don't know what benefit that necessarily has, but it allows people to, if they do know, they can't just say, oh well, the sword, like they're talking to us and the sword's not, or like the sword's here, not where, not at the fortress or not this. So, and no one's ever made it into the fortress. It leaves a lot more open questions to maybe them not knowing, even if, because what if the people in charge are also potentially not the best people either.
Again, like that is something for amongst the three of you. However,
a bit more caution.
Yeah. However you three want to plan out how you do your revelation, you can. That's something that's something for you guys to discuss. What about you, Felix? What are your thoughts that you want to do? Do you want to go back to the world at large? Would you rather stay at the fortress?
I think I'm gonna try to see if I can meet up with the everyman.
Okay.
Ooh, squad up.
That is totally plausible. I'll say
You can certainly try.
I'll say you send out a couple of messages. You send out a couple of messages, send like a couple of birds.
Hey girl, you up?
That 2 a.m. you up text.
With the 2 eyeball emojis.
I will say that is certain. You can certainly get in contact with the everyman. Are you wanting to physically meet, or would you want this? Okay. I will say then that both with those decisions made, Dash Garum gives both you, Felix, and you, Doran, 2 small blue sapphires in which you can see are carved a teleportation rune. He says, "These will take you anywhere you need to go. And at any point, should you find yourself in emergency or otherwise, you may crush them and they will return you here safely. Very important. Whatever this emergency may be, you cannot bring anyone with you. This is one way, one person. Do you understand?"
Yes.
All right. He hands them to both of you. It's like, after 30 days, you will be returned here automatically. So, whatever time you need, whatever goals you have, whatever things you must accomplish, Godspeed and good luck. And he turns like, "Oh, should you need to return here before then, again, the doors are always open. You are welcome, and should you find and discover anything in your journeys that you need further assistance with, do not hesitate to reach back out." So, before you go, I think, well, I would guess it would mean a lot for, well, mainly looking at Felix. I feel as though Theo might appreciate you being here for the ritual of bonding.
For folks not here in the room with us, Morgan is giving the thumbs up.
He Dashgarm sort of like begins to walk past you, but then stops at you, Doran. It's like, "I have experienced the same anxiety and fears that you are currently going through. Whatever you find, do not lose hope." Sort of very lightly, like, puts a hand on your shoulder. "Also, I'm sorry for the other day. I was,
Angry.
Yes, that's certainly a word for it. But I do apologize. I should not have taken that out on you."
Our apologies. Appreciate it.
Of course. And he continues walking there. Theo.
That's me.
A couple of days have passed while all of this is sort of going on. You have spent a little bit of time with your dragon, but they have. I guess, Theo, roll a nature check, please.
Oh, easy.
I'll say with advantage. You're probably one of the foremost experts on dragons in the world at this point.
I don't need to. I don't know if I need to roll again. That was a nat 20, baby, right off the top.
Hey, let's go.
I went to go grab and roll it again. I was like, wait a fucking minute. Is it going to get better than that?
What if I rolled two natural
nat
20s?
That means I get 3. Let's try it again. No, that one was a 2.
So you vaguely recall, like, now that you've kind of moved into the, like, okay, this is happening. Okay, you've been training your whole life for this. You've been practicing your whole life. It's like, you know what you're doing. I know what I'm doing. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You remember, it's like when dragons are born in the wild, they traditionally will hibernate for like the first 3 months, protected by the adults as they like actually grow into their sort of like their full size, or their like baby size. And so the fact that the baby dragon has been sleeping koala hours for the last 3 days is not all that surprising to you. You're doing your best to like kind of like think it's like, all right, bonding ritual, and then your mind because you rolled natural 20, so we'll roll this in. Your mind goes back to, it's like, right, bonding ritual. It is effectively it's effectively you tie together the life forces of the worm speaker and the dragon, and this allows the dragon to skip the hibernation phase and be able to grow into their like young or baby sort of dragon form almost immediately.
Ah. Cool. So it's like aging super fast.
Sort of like that, almost like suspended animation being like fast forwarded through. I think would probably be the best way to describe it. I will say, as you have made this decision, Bargash has gone a little quiet the last couple of days.
Is he mad at me?
Less mad. You can definitely tell he's not angry at you, but there's a melancholy to it. There's a sadness almost.
He's not mad, he's just disappointed.
Ah, shit. He's gonna
The
try
worst. That's worse than mad.
That's worse. She's gonna try to chit chat with him because he has been quiet, and she wasn't sure if it's like just about this place because he got sad earlier too.
Bargash, are you still here with me?
Hey, darling. I'm still here.
Are you all right?
I'll be completely honest with you. It's hard being back here. Like I know, I'm just sort of right along with you. But memories, am I right?
Yeah. I'm sorry that you have to go through all this again.
It's not your fault. Trust me, if there was anyone who I would wish to be able to carry on our legacy, I think it would be you. You're a good kid, Theo.
It's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, I
Also,
know.
I'm a grown-up.
Calm yourself, mommy issues.
Shut up.
Like, Theo, you realize that I'm like almost 400 years old, right? Like, you are a child.
Fair. Now I'm talking like you.
It's okay. It's your head. You can talk however you want.
That's true. I can talk whatever accent I want in my head.
Fair. Are you
Sorry.
sorry, what?
Laughing at you struggling with the accent.
Wow.
Are you going to go after
I
all this?
I don't think so. Whatever bonded us is separate from your draconic training, and I feel as though Dashgarm will. Well, you haven't told him that I'm up here, have you?
I haven't mentioned it, but
I mean, he might feel better knowing that like someone familiar's up here, though. I mean, how's he feeling about you? Like, you know, all things considered.
I think that I bring back a lot of bad memories.
Right. All right.
So
Don't mention me for as long as possible.
Did you two have a fight?
No, it's more look, I really chafed against authority, especially during training. And it's less that it's less bad memories and more just like I don't want him to be in the headspace he was in when he was training me while training you, because I was kind of a right terror.
You were a little shit.
Little wasn't really an apt description, but certainly, yeah, I was a shit.
Oh. Noted. Got it. But he is aware of the other dark
Yeah.
passenger.
Suddenly,
that requires to be satiated.
I've been thinking about that a little bit. Especially given what we sort of learned about your mother. I have a feeling Theo, at some point, you're going to need to go to the library and you're going to have to dig up an old book.
Do love a good old book.
No,
I know you do. You do love an old good book.
You aren't here, Felix. Shut up.
Well,
you're not here. You're not here in my brain. Get out.
Chibi Felix appears in Theo's brain.
You know I disapprove.
Ooh, reading bad. Why? Felix just be like, why am I in your head rent free, girly? Girly pop, why you tell me why I'm in here.
Well, you think about me a lot,
you
huh?
thinking about me, girly pop?
Bargash is like, look, it was an old journal of sorts from my best guess is a necromancer or some failed lich, I guess would be the best description. Would be the
sucky wizard, got it.
Yeah, like real sucky wizard, but I just remember when I was reading the stuff, it's like it was this weird theory about, the power behind power. The idea of there's obviously the gods above, and the gods created the dragons, but what made the gods, sort of thing. And there was this idea in there of pure forces. There's the purity of elemental forces. There's air, fire, water, earth, etc. But
sorry.
But so there's the pure elemental forces of the world. There's the building blocks of the universe at large. But there had to be a spark to all that. And he had some theories about the spark, or what's left in Spark's wake, so to speak. But I read that as punishment about 350 years ago, so memory's a little shoddy, if you can imagine.
Is this like the fantasy version of the Big Bang? The spark?
Well, read the book and we'll see.
Okay, well, guess we're gonna find out.
That's Zach not dignifying that with a response.
Yeah. But I'm okay, kid. I'm all right.
Are you lying to me?
Only a little.
I guess that's the most I can ask for.
I'm happy for you. I am. But and he sort of in your mind you feel like this tug sort of leading you elsewhere in the fortress. And you arrive out on the parapet of the sort of outer wall where you first sort of entered. And specifically, you're brought to the southwest corner, the wall that has the largest sort of chunk fully ripped out of it. It's almost non-existent as a wall, but it is, it's still there. And you're led to where this scorch mark and have large claw chunks out of the stone parapet have been taken. And you get there and as you stand there, you're almost you almost have to sit down, you reach your hand out and sort of steady yourself as you're hit by this just wave of nostalgic pain almost. And like as you
Oh,
close your eyes, you can like hear the sounds of like steel on steel, the heat of like of breath attacks raging in the air, and there is a sharp sort of shrieking cry, followed by like the sound of like a choked off no, and then silence and darkness. And like you kind of like open your eyes and shake your head a bit. You're sweating a little bit, and like this is where I fell. It's hard to be back here.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
I know, but someone has to say it, don't they?
I appreciate that.
How'd your bones get way over there? From scars of, because scars of Metalis. I guess we don't really know if that was the thing that made. Remember the big knuckle bone?
Yeah, it's like, one of the reasons that Dash Garam's so protective. I mean, well, a great battle was fought here, and many dragons and worm speakers died. Take a look around. There's not too many bones lying about that you can see, can you?
No.
Grave robbers, archaeologists.
Oh. We're
The
gonna.
scars of Metalis needed to have the proper bones of the dragon mother.
Fucking British Museum, motherfuckers.
So they came and collected some, and Sundance was a part of that. That was his name.
Fruity ass dragon name.
Barkash is just bearing his soul, and you're just fruity, haha, gay dragon.
It's the final day of Pride Month. We'll let it go.
I'm allowed to be a little homophobic as a treat.
Dragons can be gay too, Morgan. God.
What?
Yeah. It's 2024.
Bargash sort of like, anyway, I'm happy for you. I truly am. I'm excited and happy, but old wounds, you know.
I know.
Hey, you're gonna really stick it to your mother with this one.
Oh. Lord knows she's going to credit herself. She's going to say, "Oh, I did it. Look at you. Ha ha ha. It was a good thing that I cast you out." I'm really bad at imitating my mother. You'd think I'd be good at it.
Well, I mean, if you were good at imitating her, it meant you actually listened.
Ha ha, good one. That's a good way of looking at it.
Anyway, you have you've got a ritual to get to, and you head back inside, and that is where we will end our session for today. Thank you all for joining us for another episode of Dances with Dice. Please follow us on all of our social media channels at Dances with Dice. When you use the hashtag DWDcast or DWDart, we'll use you as named NPCs in the show. Thank you all for joining us, and join us every single Tuesday for new episodes of Dances with Dice.